Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another spectacular episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have an experienced entrepreneur that is currently the founder and CEO of Nibbles, a company that is giving free pet healthcare to make sure your pet is happy and healthy. We're going to have a great conversation today with Rafa Lopez. Rafa, welcome to Thrive Loud.
Thank you for having me, Lou.
So this is pretty cool. I've had a pet recently who just had passed away. We loved a big, important part of our lives, and he did live almost 16 years. So we were very happy to have him. Lots of different things, but I know many people love their pets, and everyone also has lots of issues with insurance. So I want to understand kind of how this became your gig, Ralph. I want to do a little rewind. I don't want to go all the way back to the womb. But how did this direction in this business that you created became your current gig?
Sure. So the idea actually came to me while I was working on my last company, Zen Business. So Zen was focused on helping everyday people start a business. We formed LLCs and corporations for people online. But then after we formed the business, we helped them with all their compliance, banking, insurance, and accounting needs for that business. Mm-hmm. And that's done. That company has actually been really successful and done really well. I raised over $300 million in VC funding for it. And cool fact, last year it did about 13% of all the incorporations in the United States.
Oh, wow.
So that multi-billion-dollar unicorn. It was one of the funnest journeys of my life. Amazing team over there. So flashback to about 2018, when Zen was a lot tinier. We were only about 50 employees. Two things happened that kind of led to Nibbles. First, in that year, I actually created an insurance product for small businesses. Mm-hmm. And I had no background whatsoever in insurance, but I just really didn't like what was being offered to people in market at the time. So I decided to do a deep dive and learn how to make insurance products. And the next thing that happened that year was around November. The HR department told me, like, hey, we did a survey of all the employees. And the number one requested benefit that came back was that we add pet insurance as a company benefit next year. Right. And I was like really shocked. I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting that they want pet insurance. And then I like literally turned around and I asked a couple of the employees, like, why do you guys want pet insurance? And they're like, well, most of us are millennial age. We don't have kids, but everybody has a pet. And I want healthcare for my baby. And I would like to go buy it on my own, but it's like $200 a month, and then when I do the math, like I don't really get that much for it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Keep going.
And the reason why it's important I talk about I just learned about insurance is I created a property and casualty insurance policy, and even though pet insurance is a healthcare product, because pets are property, it fell under property and casualty insurance.
Oh, wow. Fascinating.
Yeah.
So, by the way, love the fact, and I did not know that, and that is unbelievable within that. So maybe let's give a landscape for those who are not familiar with pet insurance, the stuff that's out there right now, because you're 100% right. You feel like you're paying a lot, and it barely covers anything. Give the listeners a little bit of a background of your education of before Nibbles came along, what the landscape of pet insurance looks like.
So what's really interesting is that in reality, there's only ever been 2 pet insurance policies ever written in the entire United States. All the other policies you see are just copycats of one another's filings. So it's all the same underwriting. So even though you see all these different insurance companies like Pumpkin, Spot, Embrace, they're all actually selling the same insurance. It's just slightly different, like marketing, like on top of the same commodity product. So there's not real competition or real innovation going on. It's just people trying to position branding differently. And because of that, like weird background of it being property and casualty, there's only two real policies that exist in the market. No one ever thought like, hey, how could I really shift the economics of this and make it more compelling for people?
Okay, let's talk about making it more compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Explain kind of, so that you came up with this idea. There's this is the need that's in the market. You're trying to fill that need, and you love being the unicorn and want to create that product. Give the vision board, if you would, for what you wanted to put together for Nibbles. So what would be the offer that would get people attracted to it?
Where originally the reason why we're called Nibbles is I wanted it to be like just a little bite from your animal, like a nibble. Like it only cost you just a little bit. And I decided that I wanted to put it inside of a credit card because it really did a couple things. It made it much easier to access the insurance. It gave me leverage and buying power with the insurance carriers. And I just made it so much more accessible. Going back to what I brought up earlier on, pet insurance is just property and casualty insurance that everybody just kind of like has been selling the same thing. They actually, like an insight I had was that when they underwrite the insurance on you, they underwrite you completely as an individual and put all that risk on you and all those costs. And if anybody here has ever gone out and bought human health insurance, you ever notice how you pay way more on that open market than what your employer pays for you for the exact same coverage?
Yep, absolutely.
Well, that's actually the same with pet insurance carriers and the providers. And I was like, if I go and set it up under a credit card, I can essentially make my own kind of PEO and negotiate with the carrier and be like, hey, I'm bringing you all these customers pooled together, but in exchange, I want a much lower rate.
Mm. So no different than a lot of I'm going to use some insurance companies or like companies like TriNet or Paychex and all these guys that are lumping together different pools of people to give them health insurance or other platforms to make them like employees within it, so that it's bringing down that number. Bringing a credit card, if you would, that has all these different purchasers or people who are card holders is basically helping to reduce that risk on this particular type of insurance. Is it still considered property and casualty? Is it still that?
It is still a full property and casualty insurance. I'm giving you $10,000 a year of coverage, and 80% reimbursement. But it's embedded inside the card for free. Okay. And on top of it, I'm giving you points when you charge on the card. So to be clear, it's a general use credit card. This isn't an HSA or some type of debit savings card. Like, it's a fully unsecured consumer credit card like a Chase Sapphire. You can go buy a coffee with it. I even give you points when you buy a coffee of 1 point.
Okay.
But when you spend it on your animal, like you go to the groomers, chewy.com, you get 3x points. But what's really cool is when you go to the vet and you swipe the Nibbles card, I automatically kick off a claims process for you. I actually reach out to the vet's office. I'm a full insurance agency along with being a full credit card company. So I actually have a legal right to go get the medical records from the vet, and I gather them for you. I submit the claim to the insurance carrier. I make sure the claims are approved very quickly because I know how to speak insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't have to deal with the back and forth. And then once the claim is approved, I actually route the reimbursement back onto the card. So essentially what happens is you swipe the card. By the time you get your credit card statement, the charge is wiped, but I gave you 3x points on the full balance. So if it was a $500 visit, I gave you $1,500 in Nibbles points. Plus, that charge is just taken care of, and you didn't have to do anything.
So now you then will partner with pet insurance companies like Trupanion or any of these other players, and is that how it's working? Or I'm trying to
I
understand what
have
you said.
one insurance carrier I partner
Okay,
with right now to make it a really deep integration.
got it.
And essentially, and how it works is like you just sign up for the Nibbles card, and you're going to get that free insurance policy. I do want to make a caveat. It is one pet per policy, but
Okay.
if you want to add multiple pets onto the card, you can, and we're just going to make it accessible to you at our cost. So
So
what it costs, yeah.
I was going to ask, so could you get multiple cards per pet?
You, you could get one card with multiple pets on it, but also, multiple people in the household could get a card.
Right. That's what I was kind of.
Yeah. And something we do for customers as well is we allow you to buy additional coverage. Like we give you a base policy of $10,000 a year for free.
Right.
But if you want to, say, for example, make sure that you never have to worry about your pet's prescriptions, you just have to pay an additional $5 a month to us.
Wow.
And we'll take care of all your prescriptions for you.
So for anybody that has a pet and has had to go to the vet, I will explain to you that a lot of times what you'll end up doing before a Nibbles card became available, I'm going through my own experience, is usually they would make you pay for it right up front. You would pay with your credit card right there at the vet for that visit. And then you'd have to submit the claim, or the vet would submit the claim for you. And then you'd be in the battle right here. You have, first of all, solved one of the biggest headaches and problems out there, because by paying through this card, you're handling and automatically triggering that process. And it could also be balancing, which is genius in and of itself. But two, you're creating an additional incentive because of the fact that you're creating this network that is saving the pet owner significantly. That's my question. On average, compared to typical pet insurance, I guess, I don't know how much does the card cost annually to have your Nibbles card?
So the card has a $249 annual membership fee, but the insurance I give you would cost you at least $600 a year. And you don't get all the other benefits that I just laid out. You're just getting the insurance.
So for anyone doing quick math here, you're basically saving $350 right off the bat for what you're getting on the coverage that you're getting just by paying $250. I'm in already. So here's a cool question. When you presented this idea, and let's talk about those first early users who were now using the Nibbles cards at a vet. How familiar were the vets with this particular process? Because they don't know. They're just charging and they're going through it, and now they'll ask you, here's your claim for insurance, and you say, no, I don't need to worry about it. What has been the reception from the veterinarians and those that are accepting these cards?
The vets don't even realize what's going on, because to them it's just another credit card, and Nibbles is a full insurance agency, so they just think they're talking to a normal insurer, like always, and they're just sending over the medical records.
By the way, I'm loving this idea. If you can't tell, listeners, I'm viewers, I'm absolutely into this, because I'm like, where was Rafa years ago when we would have done this? I mean, our dog lived to almost 16 years. So think about it, what we would have not only been saving, but all the points and rewards we would have been able to utilize, which was, I guess, my next question. All these points and stuff, what else can they, obviously you're mostly focused on dealing towards your pet. Can they be used for anything else?
So right now, the simplest thing you can do is you can get cash back with it. But coming soon, we're going to have a lot more special ads that you can leverage the points for. One of them that we're going to be doing is we're going to give you a travel credit that you can use the points for. So if you ever stay at a hotel, or you ever go fly on an airplane, instead of paying that pet travel fee, you can just dip into your points and we'll completely waive it and take care of it.
Oh, man.
And it's going to be amplified. So it's going to essentially, those points are going to cost you like dollars less, like hundreds of dollars less than what the normal out of pocket would be.
Love this. We'll do this in the plug section where we'll go through all the places where people can find you. But I want to shift this to you. You like these unicorn ideas and coming up with them. It's not that easy for a lot of people to figure out the new things. When you come up with an idea, Rafa, Is there some kind of test or process that you're doing to figure out that this is the most unique, or this is an idea worth pursuing, or this is an idea not worth pursuing? I'd love to hear, as for somebody like yourself as an entrepreneur, your own little navigation process on how you try and pick the ideas that you want to choose to spend the time on, the money on, and to invest in.
I usually, for coming up with the idea, for me, it's usually on, like, is this something that everybody every day has to deal with?
Mm-hmm.
And am I just making life easier for them? So often, like, there's just these everyday interactions that just don't make sense, and we just take it as like an assumption that this is how the world works. And I just kind of think about navigate, like, how would I prefer the world to kind of be, and do I feel like everybody else would feel the same way?
Mm.
With my previous startup, it was so hard just to file the paperwork to start a business. I was like, I just want to make it really easy. In this, I was like, I felt like everybody needs to go. Everybody has a pet, but nobody's getting good health care for their animal, and it just didn't make sense to me, because it was like, the margins are there for it to exist, to make everyone happy, for like a company to make money while the consumer is getting great value, but no one was really like moving the incentives correctly, because they were just stuck with the everyday inertia of, like, this is how we've always done it.
Yeah. You just sparked a memory. A great podcaster and a very good friend of the program, Heather Pierce Campbell, used to work at Microsoft. She wanted to do some entrepreneurial business, and she had a legal background. And there were all these people that wanted to start all these new businesses entrepreneurially. And the cost to do a lot of the things, the documents, the legal process, the setting certain things up, to go to an attorney to go do it, was very clumsy. And she reinvented that whole thing and created the Legal Website Warrior, and created a business that made it so accessible for all the documents that you would need to start a company legally, like with all the different pieces there. So it's fascinating. I totally see the connection there. Solving the problem and making things easy. Way before, years ago, before you even came up with your first idea, problem solving, has that always been your thing, Rafa?
No, my thing is, I just love stories and I love books. And, like, in most stories, there's a problem and they're just trying to figure it out. And I always just loved following those journeys. And then as I got older, I just wanted things to kind of like flow like those stories.
I totally get it. We love asking guests this question. Look, you've been thriving in businesses already that are successful in the past, ones that are going to be successful in the future, like Nibbles, and probably more that we don't even know about, which is why you're here on Thrive Loud and why you're thriving on most days. But we all have those days when we're a little off our game, Rafa. Rafa Lopez, when you have trouble thriving, what practice do you seek, or maybe which individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
I generally really just need to be left alone with my thoughts for a little while to recenter. I have a huge sweet tooth. I just eat it, like, probably not the best thing for me, but I want to sit down, have a dessert, and then just refocus. And generally, I'm able to go back to it. It's hard sometimes, starting businesses or communicating what's going on. And I feel like I just need moments of self-reflection.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Rafa, let's do this. Let's do the admin part of the show. Share with the listeners and viewers all the places people can find and learn about Nibbles or any of the other initiatives you have. We will put it in the show notes. It gets more engagement when they hear it from you.
Sure. Of course, there's nibbles.com. You can go on and apply, but also on our Instagram, Nibbles Pets. Those are basically the two main places you can find everything you need to know about Nibbles.
Perfect. That was easy. Sometimes people have laundry lists of things that they need, but you had it right to the main point. All right. We're going to go down Fun Street here. I'm going to put a different spin on this, Rafa. If you could, do you like movies? Do you like old movies and do you like stories? Do you have like an all-time favorite movie, or maybe one of those that's like your rewatchable movie, the one that if it happens to be on cable or on television, you're just immediately sucked into?
My favorite movie is an art house film from Hong Kong called In the Mood for Love.
Okay. And what is it about?
It's actually kind of a sad story. It's about a married couple that like it's about a man and a woman. They're both married and they live in the same building, and they discover that their spouses are having an affair.
Oh, okay.
And then they just start hanging out together, talking. How did this happen? How did they end up? How did our spouses like get together? And they fall in love themselves, but they never act on it. And
Wow.
it's kind of a sad love story because it never comes to fruition.
I like it. Listeners, it came out in 2000. I just looked it up. We'll put a link to go check it out. Okay. We're going to do the speed round here, Rafa. Here's how it works. I'm going to ask you, we call it the Speakeasy Pub Crawl. We go down Fun Street and we stop at all the favorite places that mean the most to Rafa. They're all your favorite things. Here we go. Of late, Rafa, is there a song or a tune that you love, or maybe one that pumps you up that's kind of in your playlist in your head?
Unfortunately, there's not. I'm not much of a music guy.
Okay, we'll pass on that. Favorite food that's not a dessert?
Oh, it's not a dessert. Sonoran hot dogs.
Okay. Favorite dessert?
Uh, Japanese shortcake.
An activity you wish you did more of?
I wish I ran more because I need to get my health better, and I used to do that quite a bit.
An activity you wish you did less of?
Oh, I wish I just spent less time in my email box.
Yeah. A new activity, one that Rafa Lopez has recently tried that he likes so much he wants to tell all our listeners and viewers to try.
Lately, this is necessarily new, but I've gotten really back into swimming.
Okay.
It just, yeah.
I need to get into swimming. I've never really been into it. And I've always, maybe because I was never that fast of a swimmer, but I do like swimming when I do it. So I'm with you on that. Maybe you and I, we're gonna hit the pool. If I could snap my fingers, Rafa, and you could be anywhere in the world, where are you?
I'm in Tuscany.
Probably our number one choice. I think it's that or like Bora Bora or something like that. But everybody loves Tuscany. Well, have you been? Obviously, you must have been.
I have been, and I'm getting married there in April.
Congratulations in April. This episode is coming right in early April when this one comes out. So, or in late March, I believe is when it's coming. But we will make sure and congratulate you, and excited for you in regard. Rafa Lopez, Nibbles. Everybody go check it out. We're going to give all the links in the show notes. This is pretty cool. Giving free pet healthcare to make sure your pet is healthy and happy. Thank you for what you're doing and coming up with those unicorns out there. We really appreciate it, Rafa.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
To all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.